Am I even ready for this one? It is DANESSA MYRICKS Groundwork Neutrals palette, and this is what it came in. And let me show you the packaging, and we're gonna go through all of the details. I already checked the color story and the packaging, color story, everything looks better than in photos. Right away, I have to say, amazing choice of color undertones. I am beyond excited to try this one. This is how the actual packaging looks like. It does have all of these beautiful details, and this is the actual color story. It also came protected like this, but I just dropped it. This right here, it's some kind of a metal, like a steel or something. It looks pretty fancy. And also what is convenient and what you can do, so this is magnetic and you can, look how small. You can actually take out certain shade, you know, so that's pretty convenient. No, just dropped one. You know what, I'll have to check if these are sold individually, because you can take them out and that is really convenient, you guys. And you can also customize your own palette. So what is Groundwork? It is a multi-use talc-free palette with velvety pomades and coordinating oil-absorbing shaping powder that can easily define eyes, brows, cheeks, and lips. And I thought these are going to be much bigger, but look how small they are. I don't know why I thought this palette is gonna be bigger. So to use this with a brush, you will have to use like really small brush. So we're gonna do whole face with them, with everything that we can here. We have two different textures. We have velvet pomade and shape and fix powders. Velvet pomade is a lightweight pomade that applies with ease, and shape and fix powders, they are infused with absolute to control oil and smooth texture while locking in shape and definition. This palette is priced at $65, and honestly it's not that big of a price considering all of the choices that we have in here. And if I understood correctly, this palette was 2 years in the making, if I understood correctly what Danessa said. I'm really intrigued to try this one. First we're gonna start with eyebrows. Well, let me just figure first which one are pomades and which one are powders. I thought that these are powders and these are pomade, but I think it's different. Oh, so this is pomade. It is really, let me show you. This one is definitely, oh, it's squishy. Can you see this? So this is pomade. This right here, this is a powder. I thought it's going to be opposite. So I thought this is going to be powder, it's going to be pomade, but I'm not quite sure why is that. Especially if we're talking about face. If we're talking about eyes or eyebrows, then it's not that big of an issue, but we're talking about face. It is going to be harder to work with such a small amount of a product for your face. We'll see. And here I'm going to insert some of the swatches. So first I'm gonna go with pomade and then with the powder of each shade. And this is how they look like. Let me zoom in and we will start with the eyebrows. We are really zoomed in and I'm gonna start with the eyebrow first. Just gonna brush my eyebrows. And this is not something usually that I'm doing while I'm doing my eyebrows. It's been a while since I've done my eyebrows on camera, just realized. So I'm gonna take smaller brush. I'm gonna go in first with the shade Sculpted, but I'm gonna use powder first. This one is much more cooler toned than the Bark shade, and I'm just going to fill in a little bit to fill in my eyebrows before I start creating a stroke. It is quite pigmented, so just make sure whenever you're using powders just to take the excess off your brush. Once that step is done, I'm gonna just slightly brush my hairs before I fix them. I love fixing my eyebrows, and that way they stay all day in the same place. I don't know, I just love the fact that once you fix your eyebrows, they lift your face so much, and you'll see the difference. Now to create some hair strokes, I'm gonna use a brush like this. Also you can use any angled brush, but the thinner the brush, the better it is. So I'm gonna use pomade. This is the shade I'm going to be using. Again, it's weird. I thought it's going to be opposite. So I'm going to create hair strokes. I feel like this one is too brown. So I'm gonna go in a little bit with this one. You know what I just realized? They are creamy, but once they hit your skin, they set. So this is my custom shade. Obviously, whenever you're trying new product, you always have to learn how to use it. Mainly how you are going to press the pigment. Even if you're using same brush, you always have to learn how to work with the new pigments. Also, I know I went a little bit lower, but I am going to clean everything, so it doesn't really matter. At this point, I'm just testing it. I'm gonna take a little bit of concealer and clean everything just to see what's going to happen once I clean everything. I will also clean this area right here. Once I clean my eyebrow, this is how it looks like, and usually I am not applying powder on my eyebrows, but I generally go just with the pomade. But just for the test purposes, I wanted to see how both of these are gonna work. This is the final result. Like I said, in general, I do love a little bit lighter eyebrow, but once we've done our whole makeup, I think this is gonna look good. You have no idea how happy I am that we have this light neutral yellowish cool toned shade. Even though this one may be a little bit light for me at the moment, you always can mix it up with other shades. So as long as we have light and dark in the palette, we are good to go. And as long as they are same formulation. So this was Cream Sandstone, and I'm gonna go in with Desert shade. And first I'm gonna use creams. Usually I do not use creams like this. I usually go with the powder when it comes to this. But when it comes to creams, I love to use creams as my base for the makeup. I really do love that. Let's see how these creams will go on top of each other. It blends really nicely. Again, you don't have to go through all of this process, but just for demonstration purpose, I will use as much shades as I can today, and I'm going really cool tone today. Next, I'm gonna go in with the shade Stone. This one is kind of a greenish undertone, and I do love to have this option as well. This is not a common shade that I've seen that much. I'm going in back with the Desert shade, and we do have a little bit of fallout, but for me the weirdest part here is that this is the powder, not a big pan. Oh wait, I forgot to apply powder sandstone. So this is a powder sandstone shade. It's really pigmented, you guys. Look. And now I'm going in with the Desert powder shade, and this one also will be blended with the previous one. See how high I am going towards my eyebrow. I'm using circular motions to blend this. So this goes pretty well on top of the powder. Now I'm going in with a Stone powder shade, because when you do have creams underneath, see, the pigment is real and a little bit goes a long way, but especially when you are having creams underneath, the pigment, powder pigment, grabs really strongly. Wow, I didn't expect this to be this intense. Let me take another blending brush and diffuse this a little bit and just blend everything into previous shade. Now I'm going in with the Desert shade, and I will just go around the edges, and this is powder. I'm not going with the cream on top of the powder. I'm gonna go in with the powder shade Sculpted with a tiny little brush and just emphasize the edge of this kind of open line. This one is called Open Banana in technique, and this one really opens up your eye, and it can help to lift your eye depending on how do you position this technique. So these pomades and these powders, they are so soft. I have to say, this might be one of the softest, most kind of a delicate palettes that I've been working with, and in a good way. Now I'm going in with a Sandstone powder shade, and that one goes right into my inner corner. This is such a beautiful perfect undertone. I love it. It works great on top of the powder, so this one works great on top of the pomade as well. Now I'm gonna mix a little bit of Sandstone and Desert. and continue to set my eyelid. Now to make an eyeliner, I'm using sculpted pomade shade, and now I'm switching to stone pomade shade. The reason for that is because I do want to incorporate all of the colors so everything will be one cohesive look. And it feels like a lot of work. You don't have to be this detailed if you're going for something much more simple, obviously. But again, since I wanted to test this palette, I do want to use as much shades as possible. Now to connect everything, I will be using stone pomade again. Since I'm mimicking liner, this comes really handy that these are pomades. I think these are not waterproof pomades. A little bit of sandstone color just to make this clean. Now I'm going in with a desert pomade. This is definitely unique texture to work with. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of my base and just clean the edge. I'm also going in with a little bit of tourmaline just on the edge. So off the camera, I did add a little bit of stone pomade in the inner corner of my eye as a eyeliner because it was easier to do it off the camera. But I'm going in with the shade sandstone in my inner corner, and once I cleaned everything in here, I will be adding some eyelashes, and I will also apply liner in my upper waterline, but I will use English MC Gel eyeliner in 77 just because this one is waterproof, and I always use waterproof so that it doesn't transfer on the other side. And we'll continue. Next thing we're going to do is to sculpt face. Well, these pomades, however, they don't feel creamy like some other contour products. I just hope eventually these are not dry too fast. What it was, 12 months shelf life? Yeah. Mainly probably because of these pomades, because I don't know, it's just my prediction. I hope they're not gonna dry too fast, but I'm not quite sure if this is going to be enough opposed to this where is completely sealed, and gel formula tends to dry really fast, especially if it's waterproof. So that's why these have to stay like this. These are not, so hopefully it'll last longer. Anyways, I'm gonna go in with the shade Mirage, and I'm really curious to see what's gonna happen. My base is on. I do have my foundation, and this is new MAC Studio Radiance Serum Powder Foundation in shade NC37. I tried this one yesterday for the first time, and I did realize I did break out. I'm not quite sure if that was the foundation. My guess is that it is, but we'll use it today as well, and I hope it's not a foundation. And wow, this is beautiful. This is so beautiful and subtle, you guys. Mirage pomade, and you can deepen it up. Do you know what the great thing about this is? You can even blend it, like you can definitely diffuse it from the darkest to the lightest. You can blend it. This is beautiful. The only problem is with these pomades, let me show you. So if I'm gonna use my regular sculpting brush, unless I take them out, I cannot use them. See how big my brush is? And this is even one of the smallest. If I want to go, for example, to use a powder with something like this, I can't do that unless, well, I'll have to use smaller brushes for this. Unless I take it out and use it like this. It's not convenient. This is going to take you a little bit more time if you are doing this technique, just because you have to use smaller brushes if you want everything to look properly blended. And because I did not go with the darkest color right away, this will take some time. For my nose, I will be using same shade. This shade is pretty light. So this Mirage shade is so beautiful and neutral. Well, I think she done great job when it comes to undertones. Now I'm tempted to try sandstone for the highlight, but it's going to be too light, that's for sure. But what I can do to test it out is to try to highlight my T-zone to see how this is going to work. You know what? I'm gonna use blending brush again. Again, you have to use smaller brushes and be really precise, which in general I don't mind. You know, when I'm doing makeup, I do take my time to blend not only the eyeshadows but the whole face. So this is shade Sandstone. Gonna take my beauty blender. And because this is the same formula, it should work well together when it comes to blending. I'm not relying on these to be my powders for the face or my highlight, but I'm thinking if it worked for the contour, it might work as a highlight, but I do prefer concealers. It's good, it's fine, but I feel like I would love to use a concealer instead. I've set my face with some translucent powder, and now I'm gonna use Mirage powder, just a tiny bit, to emphasize my powder contour. You know what? I'll do the same on my face. But again, this is going to be a little bit tricky because I'm using a powder for my face contour. Yeah, again, I thought this is going to be opposite. But this is so subtle and it looks beautiful. Now I definitely need to add some warmth to my skin, but the only kind of warmer, lighter shade is this one right here. Maybe I should try it. I'm not big of a fan of shades like this. Let's see what's gonna happen. Actually, in the pan it looks kind of orangey, but on the skin it blends quite nicely. So this went quite nicely. I'm thinking, should I dive into a little bit more deeper shade? I'm afraid it's going to be too much for the powder. It is a test review, why not? So shade Harvest powder on my brush. And this is Muddy and not looking good. I just ruined my complexion. No, it is too deep. The first shade that I went with, even for the medium complexion, that's the one. Let me try to fix this. I think it looks better now. Anyways, the last step will be to use this on my lips, and I will use shade Mirage, and I'm going in with the pomade first. No, wait, this one is too light, and then this is going to be too dark. Now for my lips, I'm going to mix Harvest and Core pomades, and it's going to give you this beautiful shade. But apparently I need a different brush for this. I already did try other combination, but I didn't like it. And so here it is, completed look with DANESSA MYRICKS. I wanted to say Lightwork. Wait, I do keep this one. I was thinking even to incorporate this palette with this palette to do a specific makeup look, since I'm really loving this one. Anyways, my first thought when I finish this look is that my makeup look with this palette looks polished. So everything is so blended and polished, and mainly because I did use a lot of small brushes. Again, you cannot use big brushes with this palette, even though you can use this all over your face. I did use 3 shades of my lips, so the last one in the center being shade Mirage. What I also done on my lower lash line, I did apply same shades that I've applied on my upper lip, just to have one cohesive look. This is definitely specific formula, and I would love to test this more to see what else can I get with this. So in general, I think just because of the undertones she created, this is so nicely done when it comes to neutrals, especially this stone shade. It does have kind of a green undertone in it, which I do think it's really unique. And then this first Mirage shade, sorry, the first Sandstone shade, that is right what I love to see in a palette. You heard me countless times how I wanted to see like lighter, yellowish, neutral, light shade. That's the one. So this eye, when I done my makeup look, I've done only with the powders. I would say this is really convenient for the makeup artist, just because of variety of undertones and possibilities in just one palette. I think the formula is quite different than I'm used to when it comes to pomades, and when it comes to powders, they are so fine. So no matter what you do, like, you are going to get perfected look, sculpted, blended. They blend really nicely. I loved this for my eyebrows, but I will also try to do eyebrows just with the pomades as usual. And when it comes to eyes, I would love to do some dramatic eye look with a full-on eyeshadow type of technique. When it comes to sculpting, this is really subtle sculpt on my face, and this orange shade worked really well to a little bit warmed up my complexion. When it comes to lips, this is a little bit that I found a little bit more complex to do. I am loving in general just pencil and then lipstick on top. This, however, I do find a little bit more challenging, and you need to invest a little bit more time to create this. So again, it all depends, and the undertones are something that you have to be cautious about. Anyways, I will finish off my video with this, and for this price point, I will say you do get great amount of possibilities in this palette. And I do wanna thank you for hanging out with me today, and before you leave, make sure to watch this video where I created this beautiful look with DANESSA's Lightwork 4 palette, which I really enjoyed. Let me know if you would like to see combination of the Lightwork 4 and Groundwork. So there will be these two in action. Until then, enjoy this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!